The comment was, why would you go to that much trouble making something like that? I'm sure they didn't do that. I'm sure they just wanted to make money. Well, I'm going to disagree, you see. They didn't want to make short money. Now, of course they cared. Can you imagine what it takes? This is why an answer for modern times isn't an answer for 1860. You have to put yourself in those shoes. You see, in 1860s, this was done at the side of the river, only a few kilometers away. One of the very first foundries ever created in Canada. We're talking supply chains severely diminished. Okay? And they made castings. And they made those castings in wood first. They did care. They cared enough to make wooden castings for wooden teeth. So they're skilled woodworkers, skilled enough to make the patterns for the cast iron forms, and probably sufficiently skilled to know what the ideal configuration is of the tooth. They did it in ways that would only, accommodate speed and those sorts of things. They would have most definitely taken the time to fit the teeth. This was, at the time, state of the art. And it was state of the art in the world. Very, very advanced for certainly the colonies at a time before Canada was even Canada. It was called Upper Canada. And, there was governors and there might have been some militia and stuff. But this was backwoods. So these sorts of things were marvels. Especially if you came out of the fur trade and all you were was eating bannock and pemmican, which is lard and dried berries. And you know what? There was a freedom, though. And so these sorts of mechanisms, of course, they would have spent all of their efforts because they were going for the long game, not the short game. And of all the gears that were made by Mr. Blasdell, that was the guy who opened up a huge, huge foundry factory on the old Ebieti site, the is it the Chaudière Falls by Parliament Building? I think there are some structures still left there. But oh yes, they would have spent a lot of time considering how much they had invested to this point. It was no time to cut corners. And so I don't think I'm spending any more time than they would. What I think is I'm not near as skilled as they must have been working that much wood to that kind of precision when nobody else was doing that. And so, how much effort you want to do. Point is, this is a museum. And, and there's John Harding, one of the Rust Junkie Fest, running the mill for us. John Harding was just fun to have here today. Thanks for just tuning that into perfect speed as I'm downstairs, seeing if the efforts we put into the teeth pay off. And now you got to remember, it is 1860s, and it'll get better. We'll try to get those chunkies out. I've got a few bearings to adjust. Shafts are moving a little bit, but that's heavy. Now, we're also not running this with the runner stone upstairs, which weighs 2,000 pounds. And it'll have an effect on these teeth. A real power will be transferring through those teeth. So much of that rattling will probably go away because the teeth will be loaded, and so they won't have as much backlash. Anyway, that's the theory, and I'm sticking to it. But I have at least still in my arsenal of schedule a few more days before they open. And so I can do things that wouldn't normally be able to be done while they're grinding flour, like adjust these, gimbals in the bearing. So that adjusts the bearings and I can increase thickness. But thanks for following.